Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to day 2 of weekend 4 of Scotland's Climate Assembly. Fantastic to see you all back this morning. So we've got a couple of things on the agenda for today. So first of all, this morning, we're going to turn our attention to the second of our community's questions, which focuses around delivering community services. So we will kind of go through the same processes as before. You'll hear from Daisy, first of all, giving you some of the kind of the background and the context to the issues. Then after you've had a bit of time to discuss that, we'll hear from a series of kind of 4 presentations with different perspectives on what can be done. And then towards the end of, after you've had discussion, actually, the first kind of item in the afternoon will be for you to start to develop your kind of the areas where you want to focus your recommendations around this kind of 4th topic question. And then the final thing this afternoon will be to look back to the work you did on existing homes and new homes and review the work that's been done between the weekends, looking at how things have been consolidated, looking at Daisy's comments, and doing a little bit more work on the recommendations that you started at the previous weekend. Just a couple of things more things to say before we jump into that agenda. So some members have been asking whether we'll be hearing from the children working with the Children's Parliament this weekend. Unfortunately, because schools have closed, it's not been possible for them to continue the work that they were doing in the way they planned it. But they're exploring other ways of working with the children. And hopefully we'll have them back again and some input back from them in the next weekend. So yeah, sorry that's not been possible for this weekend. Just a few quick reminders that if you're having any technical difficulties, you can contact the support team in all of the usual ways, by texting the number, calling the number, or emailing. And as we go to presentations a bit later, just a reminder that you can choose the view that you want to view the presentations by, and if you kind of want it larger than it might otherwise show up, if you click the view option and then the standard option, it will make sure that it's kind of as large as possible. So I think those are all the things for me to say. Ruth, would you like to give a welcome?
So hello, good morning everybody, and welcome to Sunday of week 4. I know it was a busy day yesterday. I only was able to join you for the morning, but it was a very powerful morning in the group that I was in. And I think today will just increase that momentum and keep us going, moving towards those ever important recommendations. And I guess I want to just emphasize, keep your eye on the whole fair question. How is this going to be fair and equal across the whole piece? So but good luck, and back to you, Tim.
Fantastic, thanks very much, Ruth. And as before, Ruth will be joining one of your groups, so if she drops into your group, then just give her a wave and say hi. So now it's over to Daisy.
Thank you, Tim, and hi everyone. Just once again to echo welcome from Tim and Ruth to everybody here. It's a cold, frosty morning in Edinburgh where I'm sat. It's sunny and beautiful. I hope everyone's comfortable. You've got a tea if you have it. Just another day of learning and understanding some of the issues and different perspectives that come with the topic that we're looking at. And hopefully, just like yesterday, today is a day that we can debate and discuss and start to look at some of the tangible recommendations that are emerging from your discussions. It's really exciting. I think we're in such an exciting part of the journey right now. And hopefully, all of us feel that collective energy coming together to make change happen. Today, just a quick reminder of the question that we're looking at. We're looking at, we're still within the homes and communities stream. This weekend, we're looking at the communities question. So today's question is, how should Scotland change how it delivers community services to tackle the climate emergency in an effective and fair way? And can I just echo Ruth's point again about the fairness and making sure that, the lens of that is constantly around what we're thinking. I suppose it's for me to say that we're going to start right into the presentation this morning. I know over the past few weekends, you've heard the phrase 20-minute neighborhood used a couple of times. Heather mentioned it yesterday, Heather Claridge mentioned it yesterday in her presentation about the 8 principles around carbon conscious places. So it's part of Programme for Government this year, Scottish Government, a lot of the work around the place-based approach, either discusses the 20-minute neighborhood or uses that as an example of what can be done. So this morning we thought, there's a video or a recording I've made about what a 20-minute neighborhood is, what it could be, and how we can collectively come together to shape it. Tim, if you wouldn't mind playing the video, and then we can have a discussion after that. Thank you. I hope that's given you just a quick flavor of what a 20-minute neighborhood could look like. It is, there's a lot of work going on across Scotland on using the 20-minute neighborhood as a framework. Different happening within communities, within local authorities that are being created. So we need to make sure that, as we go forward, there is a collective conversation that we can have around this concept of living locally and having your amenities close to hand. With this, I'll hand back to Tim for the next steps.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Daisy. Next, we're going to have some discussions in your breakout groups around what you've just heard from Daisy. So we'll be coming back at 10:35 to then hear the next panel. So production team, if we could set up the breakout groups. Okay, welcome back, everyone. So it's time now to hear from our panel of speakers. So we're going to hear from 4 different presenters who are each going to give a different perspective on the types of changes that are needed to how Scotland delivers community services. So just a reminder that whereas kind of Daisy's presentation was kind of an informant presentation, so giving you kind of a balanced view of the different kind of issues and challenges associated with community services. The following presentations are going to be giving you different perspectives and kind of deliberately different perspectives on the topic. You'll need your kind of frameworks with the kind of rainbow type framework again to take notes as we go through this, so you can refer back to them later. So as we hear each of the different presenters, just have a think about the sorts of ideas that they're discussing and proposing and where they would fit on that rainbow diagram. Now it's over to Daisy to introduce the first presentation.
Thank you, Tim. So the first presentation we have is from Kate Dupree from National Health Service in Scotland and the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, talking about healthcare and emergency response. Thank you. I think that was 2 really, I'm quite inspired looking at how much is already being done, but also, how much needs to be done, and the fact that they're already looking forward to, what can be done to achieve net zero by 2045. One of the things that really struck to me was it can't be done by stealth. We have to make sure that we turn the threat into an opportunity. Let's take a minute or so to just reflect and take notes if you'd like to. Great. The next video we have, the next presentation is from Creative Carbon and to talk about the creative arts. Brilliant, thank you. I mean, absolutely, and what better reflection of that thought about, thinking collectively than the assembly here, where we all come together to think creatively about how we can tackle the climate emergency. Just take another minute or so to just think about what we've just heard. Next presentation is from Rab Bennett, who talks about offices and non-domestic buildings. Really practical, excellent kind of ideas and thoughts that we can take into the assembly recommendations and start to look at how that becomes, how that can be brought forward. Let's take a minute or so just to think about what we've heard. Thank you. And the final presentation in this session is from Jonathan Hines from Archetype. He talks about public buildings and especially within the education sector. Thank you. Yeah, I just love that we can do this now. We know how to do this. So, as we heard in the last weekend as well, let's crack on. Just another minute or so to reflect on what we've heard. Great. Before I hand back to Tim, just want to say thank you so much to the speakers and to everybody who's provided those presentations. I'm sure there's a huge amount to discuss and debate, and fortunate we've got some of the speakers with us here today. So, as we go into our breakout sessions, you can call upon them with your questions. For me, again, there's a few things that really stood out across the board. There's, turning the threat to an opportunity, and for us all to come together and get our brains interlinked, as Ben said, thinking collectively about how we approach our recommendations. I love some of the practical ideas that went there, some of the discussions around things that need to change, some of the things already happening. So so once again, a huge thank you to everybody who's provided presentations, and for those of you who are here, thank you for your time. And I'll hand over to Tim just now.
Great, thanks very much, Daisy, and thanks to our presenters. So we now have up until lunch, so up until 12 o'clock for you to go into your groups again and have a discussion around what you've just heard, and think about the proposals they've made and which you'd like to take forward into your recommendations. As Daisy said, we've got some of the speakers on hand to answer questions during that time as well. So production team, if we could set up the breakout rooms, please.